It turns out that he was not the car thief the deputies thought they were chasing. Instead, he was the owner of the car. And deputies spotted that car at 5:40 a.m. last Wednesday, just east of Grayton. The pursuit lasted about 20 minutes. Eventually, they boxed in the vehicle and tased the driver, who allegedly struggled with sheriff's deputies. KPIX 5's Wilson Walker is live in Sonoma County with this strange and tragic case. Wilson?
Well, Ken, there are dozens of people filing into the Bloomfield firehouse behind me to talk about the incident that unfolded on this very street 1 week ago. And as you said, it is sort of a bizarre, tangled story of a man who dies in custody after a confrontation with police, driving a car that he had reported stolen, a car that was his car.
A deputy had attempted to make a car stop on a vehicle that was reported stolen. That stop ultimately turned into a pursuit.
It started at Bloomfield and Murray, and it stretched over country roads for about 4.5 miles.
The pursuit lasted approximately 7 minutes. It reached speeds at over 70 miles an hour.
When it ended here in Bloomfield, police say 52-year-old David Glenn Ward struggled with officers who tried to forcibly remove him from that car.
Included the use of a taser, the use of a carotid restraint, as well as some personal body weapons, which are arms and legs and hands. Ultimately, once the driver was removed from the vehicle, they had noticed that he was unconscious and he had stopped breathing at one point.
Ward was pronounced dead at Petaluma Valley Hospital. The car he was driving was, in fact, his car, which he had previously reported as stolen.
It looks at some point he had gone out, recovered his vehicle, and was driving his vehicle.
And Ward was clearly trying to drive his vehicle home. He lived just one street over from where he was ultimately stopped. He's lived in that house for a long time.
45 years, probably.
Neighbor Roger Kramer says Ward kept to himself and was not known to cause any trouble, but that the home he had lived in for so long had become a source of problems for some neighbors, including one recent visit by sheriff's deputies.
Yes, yeah. About a month and a half ago, there was like 5 or 6 sheriff's cars here on like a Saturday afternoon, a helicopter flying around and circling the place. And I think this is going to be one of the subjects of what happened and just in general what's going on. There's been burglaries in town.
Now, a couple of neighbors have described this as something of a neighborhood watch meeting, but now there's this sort of added question as to the circumstances surrounding the death here last week. Now, I spoke with the man's mother today. She did not want to speak on camera, but she described him admittedly as sort of a troubled man who had a bunch of physical problems as well that she thinks would have prevented him from putting up any kind of significant struggle with police. So who is investigating the death? Well, that is the Santa Rosa Police Department. They have taken over the investigation. They will be investigating what happened. And so eventually, we might learn a little bit more about the specifics of it and how this all came to be. As you have said, a bizarre story. We are live here in Bloomfield. Wilson Walker, KPIX 5.